Hi, this is the fourth session in the whole series of understanding graphic design as a beginner or from the beginner level to the intermediate level using Adobe Photoshop. So, in the last session, I talked about design principles and we looked at different ones from typography to hierarchy to contrast, white space, balance, and the rest. So in this session, I will be talking about color psychology. I will be talking about most, not everything you need to do, right? So most of the things you need to know around color, why we choose some colors over some other ones, why we deal with this set of colors in this certain context, and how to know the right colors to work with. If I'm working with this color, which other color can I bring into my design and will give it this harmony I'm looking for? So that and some other things are everything surrounding color psychology. That's what goes through your mind, what influences the decisions you make when you are designing, and it's time for you to pick colors or work with colors. And then when you're analyzing someone else's design, how can you tell what was going on in their mind when they were working with, when they were picking the colors they decided to work with? So that's pretty much what we'll be talking about. We will be talking about um, color codes. I have introduced color mode in the first session where I talked about RGB and CMYK specifically. So the focus of this session will be on RGB because I will be explaining from the perspective of RGB as a color code mainly, and then I will get to talk about color code and also introduce you to color wheel, so you don't get to brainstorm colors and everything. There's already a system that works around something like this that helps you to pick the right colors to work with, and it's the color wheel. So okay, right, let's start. So basically color psychology, and then you making the choice of color to work with from the perspective of a brand identity designer. For example, your client comes and then they have asked you, this is what I do, or this is what I intend to do. These are the people I'm targeting, this is my mission, this is my goal, this is my vision. What colors do you advise I work with as an expert designer, as a designer who understands color psychology? What should people think about my brand when they see this color as my identity or not? So I will be walking you through different colors, not all the colors per se, but I'll be walking you through most of the popular colors and how brands use them, what brands intend to communicate with these colors, and what people perceive when they see these colors. So the first one on the list is red, right? Red is a very popular color that we see in top brands, and in fact I've intentionally selected some brands that almost everyone will say one thing about, one thing or another about these brands, right? Red is a color that is known for, number one, signifying danger. That's on the negative side of things. But when we're talking about brand identity, you are not exactly trying to communicate danger with your brand. So what do you want to communicate instead? Red is a color that is known to communicate power, that is known to communicate passion, energy, fearlessness, strength, and excitement, and some other things. But these are some of the things you will see that are very prevalent in top brands that have picked red as their predominant color. However, there is something I need to say. Not in every case where you see a brand, a big brand, a multinational, using certain color, it is not in every case that they have paid attention to what this color can do for them. Most of these guys have probably picked their colors randomly when they were still small, right? And they decided to stick to it because they people could already identify them whenever they see this color, so there was no need to change it now that they have a better understanding of color psychology. So for example, you may go through this list and in your mind, like, there's a particular brand that is using red, but I can't sense passion, I can't sense excitement, I can't sense strength. Maybe it's a brand that does funeral arrangement, for example. So there is really nothing exciting about it. There is really no fearlessness, no strength. But that may just be a decision they've made years back. But if it's a contemporary brand, a brand that is intentional about what they will communicate, they should pay attention. It is expected of them or their brand identity designer to advise accordingly based on what these colors truly communicate. So one of the top brands that use red in some of these areas, one of them is Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola is known to evoke the feelings of positivity, fun, and energy. So whenever you see red, whenever there is Coca-Cola in the picture, there is no time, there is no space for weakness, there is no space for, there is no dull moment. Yes. Another example is Red Bull. Red Bull is a popular brand for energy drinks. They do some other things, but Red Bull and energy drinks. So whenever the context is energy, excitement, fun, power, fearlessness, the right color to work with, even though some of these features overlap, you can see them, you will see them in some other context, some other colors, right? But when you want to communicate any of these or all of these for a particular brand, then you are looking at colors that will evoke these feelings in the audience or the client's target audience. So the next color we'll be looking at is orange. So just like red also, orange is another color that evokes energy. So apart from energy, there is fun, there is courage, there is confidence, there is, going all out, there is warmth, there is innovation, there is friendliness, and again, energy with orange. Popular example, a very relatable one, is Fanta. Whenever you see Fanta, whenever you see their orange, it's all bright, it's all about energy, it's all about fun that comes with it, sharing fun moments with friends, with families, going out there, spreading love, spreading excitement, and all. So orange is the right color whenever you are trying to communicate this in a brand identity design or a general design. So I observe that I have been limiting the context to brand identity. It applies, yes, but also you may want to design some other things and you are brainstorming colors to work with. You want to design a flyer for a brand. I mean, the brand is obviously not Fanta in this context, but it may be a fun party, maybe a beach party, something around that. Sprinkling a touch of orange, sprinkling a touch of red to these designs will not go wrong. In fact, it will help in communicating energy, communicating fun, love, and all together in the design. So yes, popular examples of brands: Fanta. This is Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon is a popular, should I say, kiddies cartoon station. Just like Cartoon Network, there's Nickelodeon also for kids that shows animation and all. JBL, they produce sound appliances. So when it comes to sound, they are telling you with our products, you will experience sound in a fun way, in a confident way, innovative way, energetic way, and all. Again, Burger King. Well, no one sees food and they get sad. So that's it. And then BLC. This is a very popular one when it comes to entertainment. So something, an element around entertainment is obviously fun and energy, right? So all of these guys have done well. They haven't gone wrong by selecting orange as their primary color. Again, we can't tell if they paid attention to what these colors suggest when they were picking the colors. I mean, when they were picking their brand colors. No, we can't We can't speak for them, but obviously we can relate to them as people who have got it right now that we are studying this. So the next one is green. So green is a very top color when it comes to thinking growth, thinking health, freshness, nature, um, thinking eco-friendliness. Yeah, when people want to talk about recycling things, preserving mother nature, growth, and everything, green is the color. For finance, yes, for finance, because money is expected to grow and things like that, people choose green. Well, the idea or the source of green and growth comes from plantation, right? So, I mean, the should I say the first element that has to do with green on earth as well should be plantation, right? So when God created everything, the next green thing or the first green thing is obviously the plants, trees, and everything. So the source of green and growth is from trees, from plants, and all. So popular brands that use this are Spotify. So, well, how does Spotify use green to evoke feeling of freshness? By telling you that on this platform you can experience new sounds daily. You don't get bored of repeating one music from one artist and all. You have thousands of artists on our platform. Just come, what you have listened to today is not what you listen to tomorrow and all. So there is harmony, there is freshness, there is nature. Obviously, apart from Spotify, there's Animal Planet, that's nature. Intuit and QuickBooks, this is an accounting firm or a product made for financial accounting. So again, this is around finance. This is around growth. Well, of course, you can analyze your finance and discover it is not growing, but then there's still an element of growth in finance. It can grow, it may not grow. So, I mean, QuickBooks have done well by picking green because green is a color that evokes or a color that suggests that you're probably talking finance, you're talking growth, you're talking hope. So this is Starbucks. They sell coffee, sell drinks, and um, yeah, quick drinks for their customers and all. In their, I mean, their choice of green can help them suggest freshness of their products, can help them suggest health, that whatever they're selling is healthy for people, and yeah. So there's Spotify, there's Tropicana. This is a fruit juice company. Whatever we have mixed together are ingredients and natural fruits. So when you see Tropicana, when you see us displaying our green, you should remember that we are displaying freshness, we are displaying something about nature and all. So the next one is Blue. Blue is a brand that is known for depicting trust, depicting loyalty, dependability, logic, serenity, and security. So PayPal is a perfect example of almost all of these things I've listed. It's a financial, um, are they fintech? I don't know, but PayPal is a platform or a product. It's a platform where you use to transfer money internationally. For you to transfer money to somewhere else, give your money to someone else to deliver to someone else, then you must trust whoever you are giving it to. So in this case, PayPal as a platform, a financial platform, are selling trust. They are telling you our blue depicts loyalty, our blue depicts dependability, you can depend on us, and then there is security of your funds. Nothing will be wrong with your money, nothing will be wrong with it when you keep it safe with us. So there is Dell, the um, electronic company, they produce computer, produce some other gadgets. Unilever, there's Samsung, and then there is Ford. In all of these, you can see security. Ford, especially, they are assuring you of security of life when you are riding with them, and then you can depend on the product to keep you safe, take you to wherever you're going, and you know that's all. A product you can trust. the products you can rely on, and on. So even more than this, beyond all of this, blue is a very versatile color, but it is not one, it may not be the right choice when you're trying to depict excitement, when you're trying to depict fun, when you're trying to depict growth, luxury, and all. Blue is in its own class and evokes a different set of feelings. So the next one is I combined purple, black, and gold because these guys have too many similarities for me to separate them. So whenever you see brands that pick either of these colors, they are number one, they are portraying power, they are portraying luxury, they are portraying wealth, spirituality, imaginative creations or imagination. They are promoting sophistication. And the set of brands I have selected are they are self should I say self-explanatory of all of these elements. Bank is the brand that sells gadgets. Nike is a very popular one for sports products, and their products are genuine ones. They are creative in their ways. They make you go imagining things when they advertise their products. The copy they use, I mean, their copywriting, the models they use, stock images, and everything. You start imagining things. Versace, for example, is straightforward a luxurious brand. It's a luxurious brand. It depicts wealth, it depicts power, it depicts sophistication. So whenever you see gold in a brand, it is not something random. It is either their target audience are top guys and not just everybody, right? Or they are trying to tell you that we are creative in our ways. Our products, our services, our results are creative, and they will leave you imagining things. So Versace evokes power, it evokes luxury, and it evokes wealth whenever you see any of all of this. So yeah, this is just a quick way to show you some of these colors and show you why some people use it and why some people stick to some different set of colors. That's basically about what these colors depict. When you see them randomly, now you should be able to tell what was going on in their mind, or who they are trying to sell to, or what exactly they are selling. Again, Versace is just pure luxury, just pure luxury. So brands that also use, I think Louis Vuitton uses black also, just like Nike, to tell you it's a luxurious brand. It's very simple. We are not here to excite you. We are just here to give the select few that can afford this, give it to them, and let the rest just stare in amazement. And so that's the idea behind some of these colors and some of the things we should be thinking about as designers when we are picking colors, or when we are trying to decide what to work with, what not to work with. So now that we've understood this, I will quickly talk about the color code when I'm talking about color wheel. So to understand color wheel, I will be using Canvas homepage. So they have a dedicated page for color wheels where you can play around with colors and everything. So what exactly is a color wheel? It's from the basic idea of a wheel that you spin. A wheel spins generally. So when it comes to color, why are we spinning wheels? Why should I spin wheels? Why should I come here when I want to design? Why should I spend time thinking about colors when I want to design? So one thing to understand about color wheel is it did not just start randomly. In fact, it started from the theoretical part of things before it was now documented or created in this interactive kind of system. So the color theory is a practical combination of art and science that is used to determine what colors look good together. So in your mind, you can be brainstorming, what if I use green and use red in this design? What will it look like? What will it not look like? So to save people the stress and help them to just go straight into their work, color theory came into being, where we can now mix colors and see how they look like even before we get into the design part of things. The wheel was invented in 1666 by Isaac Newton, who marked the color spectrum onto a circle. The wheel is the basis of color theory because it shows the relationship between colors. So straight to the last paragraph, it says there are two types of color wheel, the RYB or RGB. RYB is red, yellow, and blue. So if you look at this wheel and look at the top, the angles, you will see a consolidation of red that looks predominant. If you look at this, this angle is white, that's yellow, this one is big, that's blue. So there is a certain color wheel that emphasizes only three colors: red, white, and red, yellow, and blue, and other colors around them. I'll talk about how we come about the other colors apart from these three. But in the case of Canva, their color wheel is an RGB color wheel because they emphasize red, they emphasize green, they emphasize blue. You can tell that we can't see much of yellow. There is another color wheel for Adobe. I think theirs is more of, they have more of yellow here. So there should be the RYB one, red, yellow, blue. So one thing to understand about color wheel is the emphasis of color wheel is actually on primary colors. So you can see that we are not talking about gold, we are not talking about brown, we are not talking about all of this yet. So there are two types of color wheels because focus is on the two sets of primary colors. So you can be wondering, is green a primary color? No, it's not a primary color. But there is a certain color wheel that works with green. But in this case, we'll stick to that of Canva. That is RGB. We'll stick with that of Canva. It works with red, works with green, and works with blue. So if you look at it, as I said, this is this how do I so this area, this angle is dedicated to red, this is dedicated to green, this is dedicated to blue. But if you look in between these colors, you will see a touch of purple, right? Naturally, when we mix blue and red, we'll get purple. So that's a kind of, I want to visualize us staying on red and then moving away from red gradually. Red begins to fade into pink, begins to fade into something different, and then begins to fade, gets to purple, begins to get darker, and then comes to blue. So that's the idea generally. Anything between these two is the mixture of this and this. Anything between these two is the mixture of this and this. So this is red, there is yellow somewhere around here. Somewhere around here we have brown, because red and yellow will give you brown. Red and yellow will give you orange. Red and yellow will give you orange. In the middle of this there is blue, and then there is green. The middle is something around, it will give you teal. That's some aquatic color. It looks like water. That's where the name came from. Aquatic. The name is teal. The official name is teal, but there's another name that has an attachment of aqua to it. So before I go deeply into what to use the color wheel for, we've seen the color wheel. You can now tell how they came about it, the three predominant colors, and some other things. You can tell all of these already. So one thing I want you to look at is this section. There is an hash, there is 00AFF. This particular set of numbers and figures, numbers and letters, is called the color code. And then every color has its own code. Why this system works, or why it benefits designers, is you may want to um if you pick red, for example, if you stay around this, so if you observe, this has changed from what it was before. By clicking this, that means this code is specifically for this red variant I have clicked. But if someone says, I don't want, my brand is, I want my identity to be between a very vibrant red and something close to yellow, not exactly orange. If you drag your color wheel to somewhere around here, for example, you are somewhere in that region, you may not know the name of what they are describing, but being in this region, you have this color code already. You can just copy it, go into your design software, in this case Adobe Photoshop, and then paste it into your color picker tool or the color picker panel. Then it pops up this exact color for you. Then you can continue with it, even though you don't know the name of the particular color you've selected, right? So this code is called the X code. The X is from the word hexadecimal. So because it's made up of 6 digits, we are not counting this hash. So anything after the hash is usually 6. So we count this is this FD6802 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So every color has its own combination of figures and letters to make its own unique identity. That identity is the color code. You should not mix this up with the color mode. Color mode is RGB, CMYK, and others. But color code is the unique identity of every color we have. So the exception we have where you don't have a combination of letters and numbers is when you're working with white and black, for example. White, for example, is the color code for white is FFF. So that's just plain set of letters, no number, no figure. FFF. So in this case, even if I don't know where white is on this color wheel, because I know the color code, I can just impute it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there you have it. White is in the center. For black, I know it to be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can naturally, everything has changed to black. So that is a color code for you. So sometimes why the color code is also important is now that there's the residual knowledge that black is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You may want to pick black on your color wheel or color picker tool in your software, and you will be unable to tell with the physical eye that you are already moving away from the main black color. So you are somewhere close to gray, but it still looks like black, right? But the moment you spot what the color code is, immediately you can retrace your step and tell that this is no longer plain black. I'm now going into some different region from black. Then you can just rewrite 4, 5, 6, and then you have the main black that you should be working with on your color palette or your color selection tool and layer wherever. So yeah, that's that about color mode. So let's look deeply into color wheel and why we use it and how to use it. So if you look down to this region, okay, from here, so we have number 1 says pick your color, pick the main color you want to work with, and then number 2, select a form of color combination. How do you want to combine colors on this wheel? Do you want to combine colors in a complementary way? How does that work? Complementary way means if you select a color in this angle, automatically we will select a direct opposite of that color on the wheel for you. So I want you to look at how this works. This main ellipse or this main shape is indicating where I am selecting by myself, while the other one is indicating where the system is selecting for me. So if I go as far as the edge, it also touches the edge. So we can see the result of what we are doing here. So it is telling you that a good combination for you, well, we are humans and we think differently. whatever is suggesting to you as a good combination may not really be something that will interest you. In my mind, I'm already thinking, if I'm working with a color that is, orange, and then this variant of blue, the concept of the output may be too flashy, and it's not something that really interests me. But just for knowledge, you can combine colors on the wheel in a complementary way. And again, it means whatever you have selected, it leads you to the direct opposite of that color on the wheel. If I click on red in this region, it brings me to the teal region opposite it. And well, this is not a bad combination. However, it is too energetic, too flashy, and too sharp for the eyes. So that's about complementary combination. The next one is monochromatic. Mono means one. From the word monochrome, it means you're working around one main color, but you are still. So if you look at what it's giving you, this is the main color you've selected, and this is a slight variant of that color. You did not pick this by yourself, but because you have set the wheel to be in the monochromatic mode, it will allow you to work with just one color and its variant. If we come to the blue region, to give us blue and a tint of blue, right? I will still talk about difference between saying a shade of a color or a tint of a color. They are different. So for now, I'm restricting myself to say a variant of a color, right? But in this case, this is a tint of blue, and we'll get there. So if I pick green, so this is a dark variant, and this is a light variant of it. So that's about monochromatic color combination. The next one is analogous color combination. So analogous, the way analogous works is from the word analogous is from the word analogous, and it means similarity. It means similarity between two things, or more than two things. So if you look at what is happening here, I'm picking this color, but this is the main color I'm picking, right? But it is giving me alternative. Well, I won't call them alternative. It is giving me different colors that I can work with around or beside the one I am picking. So in this case, this is not exactly like a monochromic. Monochromic will give me just one variant of that one color that I'm picking, but analogous will give me two variants of the main color I'm picking. If we use red, this is red, so it is bringing me to the orange region. This is this one coming to the orange region, and this is the other one coming to the pink region of things. This is the main color I've picked, so it is telling me I can combine red, orange, and pink to form to use in a fun design and energetic design, and a design that will excite whoever is viewing it. So yeah, from the idea of what we talked about, why we pick colors and color psychology and all. So yes, it's the same. So even if I come to blue, for example, that I want to work with, I want to work on a brand, work for a brand, or work on a concept that will depict trust, depict loyalty, security, dependability, and all. What colors can I combine with them? Give me color combinations in an analogous manner. So this is the main blue. It's telling me I can use purple, and then I can use this variant of blue. So that's for analogous. There is triad, from the word triangle, meaning three. So again, this is the main color. So instead of picking the direct opposite, just like complementary, in this case it goes to the one adjacent it, and then the next one adjacent it. So it forms a kind of triangle, right? It forms a form of triangle. It tells me that I can, if I pick blue as my primary color or as my main color, I can also use a touch of red, and I can use a touch of this light green or lemon variant of this green in the same design. Well, in most cases, the combination will look off, In most cases, I can't think of something to do with blue, red, and this color in one design. I don't think so. This works. This looks like something that can be used for some children design, kiddies products and everything. Yeah, so this is nice. The next one is tetradic, from the word for tetra. So it's now pointing you to four different angles. This is the main angle. Then it is telling you, it is suggesting four colors you can work with that may give you a great design. That may give you a great design. So yeah, this is it. This is how you can use the color wheel to brainstorm colors, select colors, and everything. So whatever you have picked as the main color is what you will see here. This is the color code for the main color you've picked. But the other ones, you can see the difference in their color codes also. But all of them are all six. They are all 6 characters, excluding the ash. So when you're done with this color mode using canvas system, you can either start designing something with it on the platform or export it and take it to your design software and use. Okay, so yeah, I've explained this. Complementary is the opposite. Monochromatic is giving you different variants of one main color. Analogous is just one and it's different things. Triadic is from triangle. Tetra from four angles. Okay, so I will skip that. All right, so this is what I talked about when we came into the color wheel. Immediately I said the basic idea of the color wheel, or how it was formed, is a combination of the primary colors. You can see red, you can see yellow, you can see blue. This one they're trying to depict is RYB color mode, color wheel. So yeah, after the primary colors, we can see the secondary colors, and secondary colors are made by combining different primary colors. The combination of red and yellow will give us orange. That's the idea behind how these color codes are formed. The combination of red and blue will give purple. That is why we have this purple here. And tertiary color is the combination of secondary plus primary. That's it. So if you combine this 1 2 3 4 5 6, combine it with 1 2 3, like insert these 3 into this place, you'll be left with slots for 1 2 3. When you include all of them here, you have a complete color wheel with what is represented. Even though they've blended the different dots you are seeing here, they blended them into one whole gradient of many colors for the color wheel. So one thing about the color wheel is also for you to know that it's not just a random interactive system that just splashes color everywhere and is asking you to pick what you like and all. It was intentionally created, or it's something that happens naturally. Look at this now, for example. Red, green, blue, and everything is separated into different ways. But if you look at this now, we can now group every color on the palette into 2 classes. The first one is the cool colors, the other one is the warm colors. So you can either decide if my design, again from your understanding of color psychology, you can decide the message I'm trying to communicate, is it ideal with warm colors? If your answer is, or if the concept is to communicate excitement, for example, then you have nothing to do with cool colors. Excitement is in yellow, it's in orange, it's in red, then pink, feminine color, and children's color and everything. So you know that you're working in this region. But if you want something mature, something formal about growth, about business and all, you are working in the cool region, except the brand you're working with already have their colors in some different classes. that a class that doesn't tally, or that doesn't align with what we are learning about color psychology now. As I said, some of these people may not understand this when they were starting out their brands. So they will just, oh, I like this color, this is my best color, then let it be my brand color and all, right? So that's how it works. So yeah, I talked about shades of colors, tints of colors, and tones of colors. Let's pick red for example. Let's pick red for example. This is red. So a shade of red, how can we achieve a shade of red? A shade of red is achieved by adding black to your base color. Base color is, I said, let's pick red for example, right? So red is our base color. Then we want to create different versions of red, different shades of red. Now we'll add a touch of black to red. So when we drop black to red slightly, we will get something around this color. When we intensify on the black, it will become warmer or darker when we intensify on it. But when we now go all out with the black, we will be having something in this region. But all of these combined are shades of red. So what's the difference between a shade of red and a tint of red? A tint of red is, instead of adding black to a base color, you're adding white to make it lighter. That's the difference. You're adding white. So if they say to tint something, it means it's too dark, you're trying to lighten it up. So you're combining white slightly or fully to see what the outcome will be. So again, you can now tell why I was not trying to say this is a shade of black, this is a tint of black. I just say variant. So all of these are variants of the source color, the base color. But to be more technical, to show that you understand what you're talking about, then you can say shade and tint, because you now understand better that black plus the source color will give you shade of that color. White plus that source color will give you the tint of that color. So the last one is tone. Tone is, they say a tone of red, a tone of blue, a tone of, it is different. So what is how we come about it is by combining black and white together, or gray with a base hue. So hue, for example, I have not mentioned hue, but it is simply the base color. It is simply any color on your color wheel. Could be black, red. So that's hue. So you may have heard hue and saturation. They say increase the hue, increase the saturation, increase the vibrance, and all of this. So hue is just add more of this particular color to it. They say increase the hue or reduce the hue. Maybe add more of the red element to this color. If the color has a predominant color of red, for example, So whenever you see hue, you are talking about a base color, a base hue, whatever. So for tones, they said like tints. Tones are more subtle versions of the original color. So tint is, yeah, it is more subtle, not as aggressive as black that gives you a darker variant. It is not so dark and it is not so light, right? But the difference is what you are mixing with your color is neither black nor gray. It's either in the middle or a combination of the two, and that's gray. I mean, neither black nor white. So what you're adding to a base color, what you're adding to a hue is gray. So you are mixing gray with different intensity to get a different set of the same color, to get different tones of the color. But all of these are the different variants of shade. I mean, different variants of red. All of these are also the different variants of red. All of these are also the different variants of red. But the name you will give each variant is dependent on what you've added to the base color, that is red, to give you the color you're seeing now. So that's it. Okay, so as I said, hue is just any random color: red, orange, yellow, green. That's it. So they say saturation. Saturation is the intensity or the purity of that color. So you can see this is red, and then it's going darker, it's going darker, it's going darker, and then till you have this by adding black to it. So luminance is the amount of brightness or light in a color. So this saturation and luminance, for example, I've now created a context. So while you are working with colors, you may not have reasons, or you won't even have reasons at all to add black to a base color, to add white to a base color at all. So I've just done that part to help you understand the nature or the source of all of these colors. This is what goes on in the system. This is what Photoshop does. If you are trying to work around shades and tints, Photoshop automatically adds white to that color and gives you this result. But on the outside, I mean the front end part of things now, the back end is when Photoshop adds white or adds black to give you a shade of tint. But the front end, what you will see and what it is called is either the saturation or the luminance. So whenever black is being added, you are working around saturation. If you are told to increase the saturation of this color, then you want to intensify on the dark part of that color. You just want to work on the intensity of that color. But they say you should work around the luminance of that color. It means you want to work around the brightness of that color. It's too dark, make it brighter, then that's luminance. So every red element in that design will find themselves on any variant of this red whenever you're working around luminance. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I intend to talk about. So I've talked about the different, we started from color psychology. We talked about what goes on in the mind of people, or why some colors are best for some products, for some services, for some brands than the others. We've talked about color codes previously, and then we've talked about color modes in the previous session as well. And now we've talked about color wheels and how they can help you in brainstorming design. So there's something you would also, or you should also be familiar with as a designer. It's called your color palette. The color palette is now the outcome of your color wheel. The outcome of any work you've done around your color wheel. So there are platforms where automatically you will be the one to create your color palette, just like we did for this color wheel. And when you're done, you export it. You can see export palette. Palette is, so the word palette is from this ancient piece of tool that artists use. There's this board that they drop different colors, and with their brush they mix these colors on that board, and then they apply it on their canvas. So that particular board with different colors on it is called palette. That's where the word palette comes from, and that is where it was brought into graphic design. So graphic design allows us to now do all of these things on a computer, on our gadget. So there is no need for a board, there is no need for mixing real colors at all. But a system that has digitalized all of this will now present to us our own digital palette. So an example of a site that you can generate your palette, you may not need to work with the technical part of things. So this is just more like the things that happen in the back end, the color wheel thing. A site you can go to get color palette for free is colors.co. I'm hoping that okay. So explore trending. Start the generator will bring you to I'll do this later. Explore trending palette. So trending palette is different combinations they've made on their own. So you don't need to brainstorm, you just need to come here and then, okay, what am I working on today? Is this something that will be vintage in the look? Whenever you're working around designs that are vintage, then brown is a key color that must feature: brown, black, cream. So all this particular palette is very, very good when you're working around a vintage design. And so why this site is very good when trying to create palette for your design is You can either download this palette, or by clicking on it, it copies your, can you see, it copies the color code for you. So you can see this is also a 6 digits. I told you, excluding the hash. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Once you click, it copies it to your clipboard. You go to Photoshop and paste. You copy this, go to Photoshop and paste, and then you start using your palette free of charge. Let me see what that generator looks like. What's this? Okay. So well, you can play around any of this when you have time, and then when you're done, you can export it as a design or something. So back to where we started from. Once you have okay, let's download the palette and bring it to work. So let's export this as an image. Okay, so coming to Photoshop, I will just create a random worksheet. Then I've downloaded my color palette. So how do I use it in the design? Right, with the color picker, eyedropper tool, I can click on this and save it here. I've explained this in one of the previous sessions. Then I can switch this and save it to the next one. So I have saved two colors already. When I come here and then I need to use it for one of my shapes, the last thing I saved, again, as I said, Photoshop is a smart tool. It understands that you are saving colors because you want to use them very soon. So the last color I have saved, it will apply it to it. But what if I want this other one, the background color that I have saved? So I come back to my shape tool. Once I come here, you will find your recently used colors here. But in a case where you want to pick a different color, so let me do something different. You want to drag and drop this color palette on your design, and then you need this. Remember, you can only save two here. So I need this last one. What do I do? So come to your shape tool, click on this. So there is no way we can pick this color, this particular color, from the recently used ones because we haven't used it at all, right? So this icon shows you something that we just saw, something similar to the color wheel. So you can see how different colors are mixed together and then created this icon. It's called the color picker. So when I open it, what I need to do now is to combine the power of this color picker tool with the eyedropper tool. So I will leave the entire domain of this color picker. Once I come out, you will notice that my cursor will change to the eyedropper tool. So when you leave this region, it understands that you are probably trying to come and pick a color to use later. So my caps lock was turned on. That's why I have this as a target icon. But once I turn it off, it gives me the actual icon I should have, the eyedropper tool. So once I click on this brown, it gives me the brown. Notice the color code of brown. Once I click on this, it gives me or takes me to where it is on my color picker tool or color picker panel. The color code has changed. But remember, I need this last one. Once I click it, then I have it on this region. There is no way I can identify it with my natural eyes. I would probably come around here and say, is this the same as this, something. But to save you the stress of brainstorming all of this by yourself, just come to where it is, pick it. It identifies it for you, shows you the color code, and you are good to go. So one other thing quickly, I want you to memorize what you have here for RGB. So in the first session, we did, I remember talking about all of this combining to represent one color. It means you have a total of red of R, that's 218, talking about the intensity of red now. to make up this color that we don't know the name, you have 218 of red, you have 180 of green, and you have 157 of blue to make up this color. So we want to confirm if this is really true, if our color palette generator was accurate with the figure and everything. So if we look at this, you'll see 218, 180, and 157, meaning that every color code, every color picker, every color palette in the whole world understands the color code as one universally. That is, FFF represents white. On Photoshop, it represents white when you're using Adobe Illustrator. It represents white when you're using Canva. It represents white on any software. It represents white even when you are coding and you want to, give a container a color, or you want to do a background color for your web page and everything. Once you impute the color code FFF, or you decide to use it in this way, 218, 180, 157, you will get the same thing universally. So that's what I was trying to refer to when I said someone may want to, outsource their job to you, or commission you to create their brand identity, but they don't want a familiar color. They don't just want, okay, let's work with red, let's work with green, let's work with blue. They just say create an identity that the color is between red and between orange. So you just bring your color picker tool, and then this is red, orange is in this region. So this is, they don't want red, they don't want orange. So let's just say, let's pick something around here, but of course you don't know the name. So what you just do whenever you are delivering the final result, and in your presentation, you copy this color code and then send it along for them in their presentation. Therefore, any designer that will work with them in the future, whether they are working on their own in the future, they don't need to even know the name of the color you're working with. Once you've given them the color code you have used, the identity will be consistent throughout. It will not be, it won't be a shade of that color today and then a tone of that color tomorrow. It will be the same every day, it will be the same everywhere. So that's why understanding the color palette is important, understanding color codes, and understanding color wheel and everything. Again, it helps in consistency, it helps in understanding why we use some colors, and it helps designers to flow well, for continuity. You can continue from, you don't even need to know who has designed this work. Once you pick it up and you see some things, you can be able to continue where they have stopped, and you present the same result, and there will be no difference in the brand's identity. So yeah, with this I will be ending this session now till we move to the next one in the next video. Thank you.